The producer this evening, of course, Dave Simon, the host of Ringside Report Radio, Wednesdays and Fridays, right here on TSN 990. You can check out the website as well, ringsidereport.net. And Dave, obviously, the last few days, very big news in the world of mixed martial arts as it pertains to the UFC. If you could recap it for people that are out of the loop.
Thursday afternoon, Dana White held a conference call. Dana White, of course, is the UFC president. He told everyone that Dan Henderson was injured with a slightly torn MCL in his knee. Dan Henderson was supposed to fight Jon Jones on September the 1st. Dana White informed everyone that not only was Jon Jones not going to be fighting on September the 1st, but UFC 151 was going to be canceled, and Jon Jones would be fighting on September 22nd against Lyoto Machida. Now, Machida has since declined that fight, and now it will be Vitor Belfort taking on Lyoto Machida on taking on Jon Jones, rather, Belfort and Jones, on the 22nd of September in Toronto at what's being called now UFC 152. So for the first time in UFC history, they cancel an event, and UFC President Dana White very displeased with Jon Jones' refusal to take a fight on 8 days' notice with Chael Sonnen, as they were trying to still put on UFC 151, trying to find another opponent for Jon Jones. Sonnen accepted the fight, and Jones said, no, we won't fight him. Wasn't enough time to prepare for September 1st. 8 days wasn't enough. They were willing to fight him on September 22nd, but instead they get Vitor Belfort.
All right, several questions for you here, Dave. Number one, your thoughts on whether or not it was kosher of Jones to say no on 8 days' notice for Sonnen.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation because there's so much to lose for Jon Jones, and there's everything to gain for Sonnen. Sonnen really has nothing to lose. He's a guy who just came off a loss for the middleweight championship. He would be jumping up a weight class and getting a title shot against Jon Jones. So, I mean, this is an easy decision for Chael Sonnen. Obviously take the fight. For Jon Jones, it's difficult because there's a lot on the line. He's got to prepare for a guy like Chael Sonnen, and he did everything he was supposed to do. He was going to fight Dan Henderson on September 1st. Henderson got hurt. And
much different fighter than Sonnen, obviously.
Well, you could say that, but you could also say that he's not, because they're both guys with wrestling backgrounds. They're both guys that come from the same gym, Team Quest, and, you know, they have similar styles. I would say Henderson would be a more dangerous opponent than Chael Sonnen, and that's why I think a lot of people are disappointed in Jon Jones. Dana White saying that, he forced them to cancel UFC 151. A lot of people looking at Jon Jones and Chael Sonnen and thinking, well, couldn't you just smash Chael Sonnen anyways? Why wouldn't you take this fight on short notice? But it's not that simple for Jon Jones. So I'm conflicted. I understand Jones's perspective on not taking the fight on short notice, but I am disappointed in him because most guys take the fight. If your opponent drops out, they offer you a different fight, usually the guy would say, yes, I'm willing to take that fight. I don't want this event to get canceled. Let's do it.
Especially if you're considered the best in the world, you figure...
Yes.
Right.
Especially if you're
I'll beat anybody.
You're the light heavyweight champion. Mm-hmm. You figured you would have that heart of a champion anytime, anywhere, anybody. It doesn't matter. And Jon Jones doesn't have that. And I think people are disappointed, especially considering you get a guy like Anderson Silva, who's 37 years old, who when he found out that this event was getting canceled, he got on the phone with Dana White and said, look, I'm not going to defend my 185-pound title. I'm not really in a position where I'm training or I'm ready to get down to 185. But if you need me to fight at 205 in 8 days, I'll fight whoever you put in front of me and let's save the event. So
wow.
Anderson Silva, he's willing to step up and fight.
Meanwhile, the guy that they sponsor...
Yeah, exactly. And Jon Jones was a guy who was set to fight on September 1st. He knew he was going to fight on September 1st. He was getting ready for his body to peak on that date. Chael Sonnen did not know that. He was just ready to take the fight. So, I'm a little bit disappointed in Jon Jones. I understand his perspective. I get it. I just wish that he would have just taken the fight.
Yeah, just to clarify, Jon Jones, of course, sponsored by the UFC, wearing UFC gear and so forth, right, with T-shirts and stuff. So if you're the face of the organization, then you refuse to do what they want. Or, to me, it sounds like almost like a business decision, like he's protecting his legacy, and you know what I mean. He doesn't want to have an L in that column. He doesn't want to look bad at all. The other question I have for you, Dave, Machida, why would he refuse to fight him?
Well, Machida just fought on August the 4th. He knocked out Ryan Bader. After that fight, he was granted the next title shot. Machida expected to fight Jon Jones in early 2013. He was not expecting to fight him in September. Machida already fought Jon Jones and lost. Another loss at this point for Machida would be devastating to his career.
He wanted the prep time.
Yeah, he wanted to prep. He wanted to make sure he was 100% when he was coming into a fight with Jon Jones. The guy's out in Brazil. He's been living in the United States and training there, but he's in Brazil. He's with his family. He's on his vacation. He doesn't want to take this fight on short notice because it's a big fight for him, which I understand. Just for Machida now, he may not get that next title shot. He may have to wait in line as Jones now defending the title against Belfort. You would expect Dan Henderson to get the next shot at Jones after that, and then maybe Machida in a shot later on. So Machida may have to wait his turn because he didn't take that fight. That's the risk on Machida's part.
As for Henderson, what do we know about the injury?
Well, it's not going to be anything that'll require surgery. It's not going to be anything that's going to keep him out for an extended period of time. There was thinking on the UFC's part of maybe postponing the fight to September 22nd, having Henderson fight Jones anyways, but they weren't sure if Dan was going to be ready to go, so they decided to put someone else in there. Henderson wanted maybe another month, November or December to fight Jon Jones, but the UFC wanted Jones to fight in September, so they threw him out there. And I expect Henderson to be back in there, either fighting a new opponent by the end of the year or fighting Jon Jones in early 2013.